Oneness, received and transcribed by Rasha. Chapter 14. Bridging two worlds in one lifetime. The development of heightened physical senses and psychic abilities, and perceiving and interacting with other life forms indigenous to this reality. Imagine for a moment that life as you know it is but a fragment of the true nature of reality. Imagine that you have been given a privileged glimpse into a world where the scope of what can be created is limitless. Imagine that you have been empowered with the ability to manifest anything and everything you wish, merely by willing that it be so. Imagine that you are no longer at the mercy of circumstances that are seemingly beyond your control, and that life is the end result of your highest intent in all instances. These concepts are, in fact, the nature of your reality. That is the potential with which you have been created. Not in some future time and place, but in the here and now. As the shifts in energies continue to accelerate and the momentum builds, the world you experience will shift accordingly, and life as you know it will take on the refined characteristics of realms of experience you would consider to be other than here and now. The norm for the creation of one's experience will differ from what has been accepted in your world thus far in your lifetime. For this lifetime marks an unprecedented shift in the nature of what is perceived as reality. And you who have chosen to incarnate during this period are truly pioneers who herald the world as it will increasingly come to be. You will not disappear from one set of circumstances and reappear in another. Your perceptions will be a refined expression of the reality you have created thus far, and will continue to fine-tune as the process progresses. Ideally, those of you who have come into awareness of what is indeed transpiring in these times will succeed in circumventing some of the pitfalls in the shift toward instantaneous manifestation. There will be ample time provided for the fine-tuning of the skills needed for manifesting the highest result, prior to the time when misapplication of those abilities would naturally result in disastrous consequences. Some of you now listening to these words, whose amplified vibration would place you at accelerated levels of this process, are experiencing the poignant results of those abilities in advance of the population at large. And many are struggling with circumstances that are the result of those newly enhanced, yet unrefined skills. In the times to come, the population at large will collide head-on with its ability to harness the potential to create instantaneously with focused intent. Those who have not released the superfluous baggage of negativity belonging to the shadow ego prior to reaching those levels will have created circumstances that will undermine their ability to retain form at the higher levels. The shift will be sudden and dramatic in many instances, and there will be those who rise to the occasion and transform their lives in a seemingly miraculous way, virtually overnight. Others will succumb to their conditioned adherence to rules, whose obsolescence becomes increasingly obvious to those whose awareness flows with the tides of change. The weeding out process of who will be able to move forward in their present form will thus be accomplished, not by outside determination, but by one's own choices. Those who are not able to assimilate the heightened levels will have created circumstances which provide an exit from their present life script, and will be provided the opportunity at the appropriate juncture to re-emerge in form at levels of manifestation that are more suitable. Those who are able to master the challenges characteristic of the higher dimensions toward which your world ascends will begin to experience the ability to create their heart's desire as reality. In this transitional period, most who populate your realm now bridge what are essentially two worlds. As their choices continue to refine their realm of experience, those choices will continue to determine who is able to retain form. Ultimately, when the energies stabilize and the characteristics of the two worlds merge as one here and now, those who have relinquished their tethering to the 3D world as it once was will be among the first to experience the two worlds in one lifetime. Many of you have begun to experience the characteristics of the world to come in the present day period and have observed the subtleties of change in your day-to-day circumstances. The accelerated pace of that change leaves little room for doubt of the reality of what may once have been dismissed as figments of the imagination. Yes, these perceptions and skills are real. No, you have not lost your mind. But, in actuality, you have finally begun to find your mind. Abilities which previously may have been considered to be reserved for psychics and seers will be commonplace among the population at large. The ability to sense what is not perceptible to the 5 physical senses, as you have come to identify them, will be a natural and normal ability. These are skills with which all are gifted, and which will be developed to greater or lesser extents among individuals. One's vision will be enhanced to encompass the ability to see energy patterns, auras, and the ways in which energy flow amongst life forms in response to thought and emotion. As a result, communication will be facilitated in a way that cannot be camouflaged by word or deed. The clarity with which one is able to communicate under these conditions ensures that one's intent cannot be misinterpreted. Ultimately, thought forms will take precedence over the use of verbal interaction as the communication method of choice, as is the custom in other realms of existence. Over the course of many generations to come, the mode of communication amongst beings will shift from a dependency upon speech and written exchange to a culture skilled in non-verbal communication. In the times to come, You will have relinquished a dependency upon the limitations that separate humankind culturally into isolated pockets of humanity, and will have taken the quantum leap into the realms of interaction that eliminate the barriers that now ensure separation. In the quest of humankind toward the experience of oneness, the universal implementation of the natural skills once considered to be reserved for occult practices will be a necessary and very basic step forward. In the transition period, which will encompass many generations to come, you will begin to experience varying levels of these abilities. Gradually, you will become aware of the ability to sense the colors that surround all life forms. You will see quite easily the vibrational patterns that will enable you to identify the underlying emotion and the intent of beings with whom you may have interactions. It will be increasingly difficult to disguise one's true motive or emotional position on an issue with clever use of language. Honesty in one's expression will be guaranteed as a byproduct of the process. As one set of skills initially supplements the other, both forms of communication will work simultaneously and become the norm of human interaction. Ultimately, language will be replaced entirely by thought forms that offer the rich subtleties of exchange not now possible with spoken or written words. The 5 physical senses with which you have been equipped will take on enhanced levels of perception as the vibrational levels continue to accelerate. Food will bring exquisite levels of pleasure as one's sense of taste and smell allows for fuller expression. You will begin by noticing, perhaps only casually at first, that particular dining experiences are exceptionally enjoyable. You may choose to credit the skills of the chef with the outstanding cuisine, yet it quickly becomes apparent that the experience of dining has taken on heightened levels of pleasure consistently. And it becomes obvious that it is one's own senses that have become more sensitive. As the levels continue to accelerate, the levels of pleasure possible increase accordingly. These categories of pleasure experiences serve to open for you the higher energy centers you refer to as chakras, and facilitate for you the higher levels of energy integration necessary for continued progress in the ascension process. The sense of smell is a doorway to the higher consciousness toward which you strive, whether knowingly or not. The heightened ability to perceive the subtleties of fragrance will serve to open for you expanded avenues of expression and experience. The sensuous nature that is the human natural condition has been culturally inhibited over the course of countless generations in what you consider to be your civilized world. In what you would deem more primitive cultures, human sensuality is an esteemed aspect of one's nature, and one that is expressed openly and with great joy. As one's senses take on heightened levels of perception, it will be difficult to repress the levels of pleasure possible from the simple act of smelling a flower, for example. The barriers of culture will begin to crumble as the simple pleasures of existence become powerful focal points of life for people all around the world. The joy of being alive will come into full expression and will be universally undeniable. The priorities of striving for the sake of material gain will begin to erode as one's heightened sensibilities open one's consciousness to the very different avenues of focus. And the complexities of present-day existence will give way to an emphasis on simplicity based in love. Sound vibration will be recognized for its significance as a means of transmitting emotion and will be a key to the opening up of one's feeling nature. Sound therapies will emerge as fields of major importance in maintaining the physical well-being of the human form. Emotional health is the key to the maintenance of the physical body in an optimum state of vibrancy. The opening and clearing of blocked and repressed energy centers will be facilitated by consistent exposure to certain forms of music and sound. Engulfing the senses in the rhythmic patterns of vibration afforded by selected types of music will serve to enhance one's ability to integrate the higher vibrations and accelerate the ascension process. Using this vibrational gift will become a process through which one becomes attuned to one's own emotional response mechanism to determine which patterns of vibration will best serve to clear the various levels of blocked and stagnant energies. As one's sensitivities become enhanced as a result of energy integration, one becomes aware that certain patterns of sound stimulate the emotions accessed through certain chakras. The correlation becomes easily identifiable, and the field of music will emerge as the integration of an art form and a therapeutic science in humankind's quest to perfect the health of the physical and emotional body. By stimulating the experience of selected emotions, one is able to bring to the surface and to release stagnant energies that are the underlying cause of disease and ill health. Often these emotions lay dormant in the subtle bodies, having been carried forth through lifetimes of accumulated neglect. Beneath the surface of even the most consciously aware among you are eons of experience that, for cultural reasons, have not been integrated into the energetic whole. It is not necessary to re-experience the content of the episodes that linger within you as energy, for the vibrational clearing prescribed does not require the understanding of the mind, but rather the knowingness of the feeling, emotional body. It is not necessary to know, for example, that a sense of sadness that may have been present was instilled by unresolved grief from a number of prior lifetimes. The circumstances that precipitated the emotional blockage are irrelevant to the fact that there may be an underlying aura of sadness in the energy field of a particular individual here and now. One's curiosity may be piqued, and there may indeed be a certain fascination to the discovery of the facts of one's past lives, through access to altered states of consciousness, or past life hypnosis regression. But the point of the exercise would have been missed entirely if the common thread, experienced as emotion, were not identified and dealt with. It is entirely possible to access and release the layers of blocked and repressed emotion accumulated over lifetimes by becoming aware and sensitive to the categories of emotion being stimulated by experiences in this lifetime. When one allows oneself full expression of what is felt at the deepest levels of one's emotional body, one serves to clear those ancient blockages and to open to the heightened sensitivities of which one is capable. Stimulation of the physical senses with conscious attunement to their correlation with particular categories of emotion is a direct and highly effective way of clearing the energies that can inhibit progress. The enhancement of one's vibration is key to all one would wish to accomplish in this transitional time. Avoidance of any interaction that would be counter to that focus is an action of choice. Tuning in to one's natural abilities to sense energies, it would be advisable to exercise selectivity as to where and with whom one interacts in one's day-to-day activities. Individuals whose energy resonates discordantly with yours are likely to drain your vibrational levels during any and all interactions. It becomes less important as the transformational process accelerates to be polite or to assert oneself regarding a perceived injustice than to focus one's awareness defensively about the energetic pitfalls inherent in a potential interaction. It will come to be perceived as preferable to avoid certain environments and individuals completely, rather than to subject oneself to exposure to discordant energy. It is not your mission to try to convert others or to change anyone other than your own reality. When one monitors their own energy in any situation, one makes the highest possible contribution to the well-being of all. As your vibration continues to raise, you will become aware of subtle shifts in your perception of all that surrounds you, for everything in your world is comprised of energy and vibration. You'll become keenly attuned to your surroundings and will feel the urge to place yourself in areas where the environment resonates with an augmented vibration. Honor those sensings. You are likely to feel compelled to spend large portions of your time in the haven provided by nature. And in so doing, you will discover that you have become sensitive to the subtleties of interaction with the other levels of consciousness that cohabit your realm. It is entirely to be expected that you will become keenly aware of an entire realm of existence whose subtleties eluded you at the lower vibrational levels. Now, as the worlds within your world continue to overlap, the true realities will emerge in vivid and fascinating detail. In the sanctuaries of your forests, you will discover the richness in the world of nature. Here a broad spectrum of consciousness and entities come to life. When one becomes vibrationally enhanced and one discovers the natural ability to interact with life forms that were once considered to be inanimate. Conscious awareness, what some consider to be intelligence, is inherent in every life form in your world. Some of you have already discovered the ability to see the energetic definitions, the auras, that surround plants, for example. Some of you are able to perceive with surprising ease the world of nature spirits, whose joy in being alive brings a fresh perspective to the experience you have come to regard as life. In time, you will be able to see, in a way that could be considered physical, life forms that were previously imperceptible to the physical senses of most humans. And those abilities will come to be regarded as normal by all generations to come. There will be a cooperative air of live and let live atmosphere amongst all creatures in the crossroads in time and space you consider to be your world. And the natural harmony with which this realm was blessed at its inception will be restored once more. That is the world towards which you journey at unprecedented speed in the present period. These are but some of the abilities which you can anticipate having available to you in your experience of aliveness in this physical incarnation. This is the adventure that awaits you as you venture forth from the prison of illusion you consider to be your reality. And a small taste of what awaits you when you let go of your tethering to the familiarity of the past and open to the possibilities to be experienced in the eternal here and now. Chapter 15. The Vibrational Prescription for Maintaining Physical Wellness in a Rapidly Shifting Reality. The health and fortitude of one's physical form is a subject of great importance, and one on which many are focused in these times. The purification of one's body as the vehicle for ascension is one of the most crucial areas toward which one can direct focused intent, and one toward which we wish to direct your attention. Your body is a direct reflection of your vibratory levels at any given time, for the human body is merely the manifestation of energy and vibration as form. To maintain the physical body in a state of optimum health, it is necessary to look beyond consensus wisdom based upon truths of the past. For your limited physical world provides you with the clues of the scientifically verifiable, and this alone. The wisdom needed for these times is founded upon a world of spirit not accessible to the five senses. The form in which you venture forth on this sacred journey harbors within it what could be called cellular memory. In this vibratory-based encoding lies the keys to the physical and metaphysical transformation in which you are engaged. The cellular memory referred to here deals not merely with the linear history of past experience, carried forth as energy, which influences one's physical state. The encoding in question is carried to this time frame from what you would consider to be the future and manifests at the encoded moment of the eternal here and now. The molecular changes occurring in your physical form are triggered energetically both as a result of the manifestations of personal choice and the energetic changes occurring all around you. The challenge now confronting you is to integrate the monumental cellular changes occurring within every being on the planet with the reality of everyday living as you understand it to be. The ground rules of your realm are changing with every passing moment, and the pace of that transformation can leave you feeling marooned in an alien land if you are not prepared to surrender totally to the process and to accept that many things simply do not make sense. Not yet. As time adds experience and wisdom to the equation, understanding will become obvious, and occurrences which are clearly real, yet from a certain frame of reference may have been difficult to explain, will suddenly take on scope and structure and fit into the framework of a reality with newly established parameters. In the interim period, in which you most assuredly find yourself at the present, the approach of choice is to trust one's experience as one's truth, despite the fact that experience often defies logic and the accepted ground rules of your world. Those rules are best relegated to a history that continues to shift in every waking moment, and will continue to do so for the duration of your journey in physical form. For physicality, by definition, is a conditioned structure to accommodate change. Nothing has ever been constant in your world. But until this period in your history, that change occurred so slowly, it was immeasurable and provided the false impression that the human condition was largely static. Now, as the energies that surround you accelerate with a momentum never before experienced in your world, what could be termed human is a being who has, in fact, been born anew. Your present medical science will need to contend with these changes and will find itself increasingly challenged to solve the riddles programmed into your forms as the interrelationship between the physical and the non-physical aspects of life become undeniable. Medical personnel will increasingly defer to those now known as healers, or energy workers, or light workers, as technical knowledge is replaced by spiritual connectedness. True healing will be the inevitable result of addressing the non-physical infrastructure upon which life itself is based. Techniques that are emotionally based will produce often instantaneous results, where previously tried and true medical methods yield disappointment and a sense of futility. The population has, even now, begun to recognize the validity in the seemingly miraculous. It senses instinctively that the answers that are sought transcend what is available through traditional methods. Vibrational medicine will replace the traditional techniques in present practice. And technical schooling will come to serve as a footnote to an emerging population of young beings gifted with healing abilities they oftentimes do not even understand. There are others seated amongst you who are skilled with healing abilities now considered rare amongst the population at large. And these ones, whose energetic connectedness has become apparent to them, will be guided in how to teach the techniques of purification to beings presently coming into form in far more complex physical bodies in the near future. The purification of one's physical body is the single most significant activity upon which you may choose to focus your energies in the present period. For, within your cellular structure, you carry eons of vibrational imprinting calculated to keep you rooted energetically to a realm that is fast becoming a fossil. In order to transcend that tethering, it is necessary to recognize that monumental changes are occurring within you, and to allow those changes to occur unimpeded. It is counterproductive to the objective of ascension into oneness to inhibit in any way symptoms that may occur as a natural byproduct of the process of purification. The amplified energies with which you are surrounded as a natural part of living and breathing have a purging effect upon the human cellular structure. There are aspects of your physical form that react to these stresses in ways that traditionally would have been classified as illness. Yet, to alleviate those signs of cellular cleansing would, in all likelihood, result in insidious deterioration of one's physical well-being. Maintaining oneself in physical and emotional balance is key to the longevity one would hope to achieve. Benign physical symptoms should be recognized as the signs of cleansing that they truly are, and should be allowed to run their course unimpeded, despite the minor discomforts that may be experienced. Inhibiting or covering up such symptoms will, in virtually all cases, produce repeated episodes of the body's efforts to cleanse itself with escalating degrees of discomfort. The use of herbal medicines as practiced by certain indigenous cultures may have the effect of accelerating the cleansing process. The implementation of substances known to heighten the body's natural inclination to eliminate impurities from its structure is encouraged. Substances whose sole purpose is to mask symptoms and provide a false sense of well-being are greatly counterproductive to the purification process and are therefore extremely dangerous. One is cautioned against concluding that insignificant physical symptoms are a sign that something is wrong. Quite the contrary. It is likely that such symptoms indicate the physical body's preparation for assimilating higher levels of energy and maintaining vibrant good health, despite radically altered vibrational conditions. The well-being of the physical body is interdependent upon many factors in the present period. Each of these variables works interactively with other energy forms present in the cellular structure to co-create the state of physical health. Certain teachers now on the cutting edge of energy medicine in your world are putting forth information that establishes with clarity the correlation between one's thoughts and emotions and the state of one's physical health. While those teachings are certainly a milestone on the path, most of the information now being presented in this way still limits the scope of the subject to that which is measurable and experimental. The fullness of the creation of one's state of well-being must encompass the energetic programming one brings into this lifetime, as well as currently experienced energy, being magnetized into one's energy field by simultaneous aspects of self in realities that coexist parallel to the one you recognize as your world. Know that the choices you are making right now are affecting all of your lifetimes. These are concepts that may be difficult to grasp in a linear 3D context, for their very definition defies the logic that is a foundation for the human condition at your current level of existence. Nonetheless, it is necessary for one to be sensitive to the cues, recognizable as patterns of experience, in order to transcend the programming carried in one's cellular structure that would provide an automatic vibrational link to parallel lifetimes and consciousnesses that are, in essence, you. It is entirely possible for a being to be making all the highest conscious choices with regard to physical wellness, and yet to be struggling energetically with adversity that manifests as impurity or illness. And while the cause of certain adverse conditions may rest or be partially influenced by circumstances beyond the physical, so too does the prescription for transcending those conditions rest upon one's ability to address the physical form from the standpoint of energy and vibration. Parallel realities in which you co-create the world you experience in the here and now exert a strong influence energetically on what you consider to be this reality. The manifestation of experience, be it as an event or as a physical condition, is predetermined to some extent by the residual energy carried into the here and now by choices made in what you would consider the past and the future. For all of it is actually happening energetically now. Sensitivity to patterns of experience will help to isolate the core resonant energies that magnetize to them the vibration that manifests as particular physical conditions. When one addresses a condition energetically, either through the vehicle of thought or by administering vibrationally focused sound therapy, one deserves to dispel an element of the magnetizing charge that predisposes an individual to a particular condition. Vibrational therapy, correctly practiced, is potentially the most significant breakthrough in the field of wellness in your present reality. For this approach is able to address what some term a predisposition to certain states of being. Those predispositions are carried forth in one's cellular structure and manifests at the appropriate moment in one's lifetime when accumulated vibrational toxins reach levels that create physical symptoms. Raising one's vibration as a conscious focus can do much to alleviate conditions that one was predisposed to manifest from one's very inception in this reality and physical form. It is crucial that the layers of accumulated past life karmic toxins be released energetically as one's vibration continues to accelerate in these times. Additionally, all karmic toxins from this lifetime must also be released. For the physical vehicle in which you venture forth is now and will continue to be a reflection of all you have been and all that you are yet to be, energetically and vibrationally. The choices made now exert a vibrational influence on the whole and help determine what is experienced on all levels at all times. In order to manifest physically at the levels toward which you travel, it is necessary to unburden the physical body of the eons of vibrational residue that you carry inadvertently. It is not possible to sustain life at the higher levels if you are grounded down by density in your cellular structure. It is necessary to process your energetic makeup in order to isolate the patterns of choice and response, physically, emotionally, and at the level of the core vibration some refer to as spirit or soul. For all levels harmonize and resonate as the vibrational sum totality that manifests as your experience. When one is unbalanced in the energy carried at these interdependent levels, it is likely that the experiences one magnetizes may appear inappropriate. One is left to wonder why a seemingly elevated being such as themselves in the spiritual sense might be manifesting emotional or physical adversity at extreme levels. It may well be that the individual carries residual emotional baggage imprinted in the cellular structure that draws to themselves a pattern of adversity despite a level of spiritual development. It is best to suspend judgment about the levels of progress made by others whose dramas may include you. For there are those amongst you who are walking contradictions, working through issues at the highest levels, and manifesting extreme scenarios that might be misinterpreted. Best to reserve judgment for your own process, and to tune inward for clues to the patterns that keep you in a spiral of experiential repetition that may have to be transcended on other levels. It is rare to encounter a being in this stage of your transformational journey who is truly balanced in their spiritual, physical, emotional, and thinking bodies. In most cases, the life issues that have surfaced as experience would have manifested as the result of energy imbalance, carried at the cellular level of one aspect that is not matched vibrationally at another. It is rare for an individual to harmonize the vibrational acceleration of all bodies at this stage of transformation. For a highly complex combination of factors combine to establish the levels at which the energies stabilize in each of these areas, the four bodies: physical, spiritual, emotional, and thinking, the psychological, mental body. Once the purification process is initiated and conscious awareness of it has made purification a priority, one can expect to experience rapid acceleration in the areas where one has focused attention. It is to be expected that there is a sense of alternately progressing and backsliding as key life issues are brought to the surface and dealt with. Like peeling back layers of the proverbial onion, the levels of accumulated toxins tie into key life themes and are addressed and released. And as one does this, one becomes aware of the patterns of experience that have invited repeat performances throughout one's lifetime. By allowing oneself to experience the depth of one's feelings on particular life themes, one is able to release sequentially a measure of the energy charge carried at each peeling layer of the onion, and therefore diminish the likelihood that extreme variations on given themes will manifest in the future. Ultimately, when one has probed the depths of certain categories of experience and has taken the time to address fully the toxic manifestations of the physical form, levels may be reached whereby balance is achieved. One then finds oneself at the leading edge of an energy wave as humanity surges forth in its ascension process. When that stage is reached, one's perceptions begin to alter, initially in subtle ways, and one becomes aware of having a presence in more than one reality or dimension simultaneously. It may be difficult for you to conceive of such a state of being from where you stand at this moment. Yet it is likely that you will experience inklings of that stage of ascension as your process begins to intensify. Many are already having such experiences, and that state of beingness will be quite commonplace and will come to be considered the norm as the transformation of your realm continues to progress. The reality of the 3D realm that was once considered to be carved in stone would have by then given way to the subtleties of newfound perceptions changing all the time. And it would have become obvious to all who remain in physical form that the seemingly solid foundations of your reality and physical evidence of matter are truly energetic thought forms that can be altered at will. At that point, life begins to take on a very different game-like perspective. When it becomes obvious that reality can be created by the subtle manipulation of the energies at each of a multitude of levels, entire fields of expertise begin to emerge, focused on balancing and maintaining categories of vibration. One discovers the abilities to create at will what one wishes to have manifest, and experiences the result as physical reality. The challenge becomes that of conscious awareness of the underlying impetus for certain actions. Purity of intent becomes a key factor in how successfully one is able to sustain one's levels and to achieve what one wishes to experience. During these times of transition, you can expect to have glimpses into the world where these kinds of abilities are the norm. And you may note with fascination that there are certain days where everything seemingly goes right. You can feel in those moments that you are in the flow with all that surrounds you. And quite literally, in those moments, you are in the flow. When your energies are in harmony with the energies of your environment at large, you are, in fact, manifesting your intent and willing it into form. You are, in those moments, bridging the gap between the worlds and experiencing the higher levels as here and now. For here is not a static place, and now is not a stationary point in time. The reality you experience is a force field that is constantly in motion, ever shifting in response to the infinite combinations of subtleties that surround you and emit from within. You may perceive your world to be one that is fine-tuning itself in barely perceptible ways, and then, moments later, discover that things are radically different from when you remembered them to be. As you allow yourself to become immersed more deeply in the process, you will realize that there is but one factor that remains constant in what you perceive to be your reality. Your awareness is the only constant factor. The sense of beingness that is not separate from all that surrounds you, but recognizes itself as the consummate integration of all that is perceived and all that is perceiving it, is your awareness, the one constant in this process of ascension. That is the experience of oneness toward which you journey. That is the experience that will be your reality sooner than you can imagine. Chapter 16, The Sacred Science of Manifestation. Transforming possibility into probability. Overcoming karmic conditioning. Manifesting as an emerging art form. And building a foundation for mastery. As you journey ever deeper into the transformational process, you will become intensely aware of the signals provided by your life circumstances and by your state of physical health as to your vibrational levels relative to all that surrounds you. It will be quite easy to determine where you stand in your own process of ascension at any juncture, simply by becoming aware of the ease or the difficulty you experience in manifesting your heart's desire in your day-to-day life. You will find that you have become the observer and the object of that awareness simultaneously. And the process of assessing your state of beingness and modifying your choices accordingly will become an integral part of daily life. This approach is what many term conscious living. For, under the conditions now well underway, there is not the luxury of random action unsupported by focused intent. Every action, every thought, and every nuance of every choice each add their measure to the vibrational whole and contribute to the creation of the reality you experience as your life. You will begin to feel pressed to assess your life direction again and again as the process intensifies. And you may find yourself feeling compelled to make radical changes in your life circumstances that would result in the severing of ties with situations and/or people that no longer serve your highest purpose, both professionally and interpersonally. It will become obvious to you that certain relationships and certain activities have become obsolete in terms of your spiritual evolution. And it will continue to become clear to you that you cannot continue to justify perpetuating situations that leave you drained energetically. You may already be keenly aware of the intensity of the influence of your surroundings and the individuals with whom you choose to interact upon your state of being. 4. The veils of separation have become very thin, and one experiences an intensified energy exchange with every being and every situation in which one chooses to engage. It is certainly in one's highest interest to be aware of the energetic environments in which one places oneself and to make conscious, focused choices accordingly. It may be necessary for ties to be severed with affiliations that no longer resonate harmoniously. There are no rewards given for martyrdom or suffering on this journey. There is no advantage whatsoever in prolonging that which no longer serves your highest good. And there is no yardstick with which that determination can be made beyond your own inner knowingness. This is the time to become attuned to your life priorities and to selectively weed out the individuals and activities that are not uplifting. You have no obligation whatsoever to carry others down the path on which you travel. Those who journey by your side must be energetically autonomous if the association is to be mutually advantageous. Those who continue to try to coerce you against your natural inclinations to accommodate their personal preferences only serve to drain your energies and distract your focus. For the focus of this process is upon the highest expression of self. By honoring your own personal truth and resisting the conditioned inclination to compromise in the name of diplomacy, you succeed in serving the highest expression of the energetic whole with which you are interconnected. Becoming disciplined in where and with whom you choose to interact is highly recommended, with care that those choices come not from subjective judgment of others, but rather from focus upon your own vibration and your goal of raising it. Until you develop the ability to be vibrationally impermeable, you would be well advised to be aware of the extent to which your energetic state of being is influenced by anything and anyone around you. As the ability to hold one's energy stabilizes over time, it is likely that the vulnerability that characterizes this stage of the transformation process will diminish. When one reaches those levels, the natural state of detachment that one adopts in the early stages of this process, as a protective mechanism, gives way to a sense of having merged with conscious intent, with all that is. For some, the entire process is virtually instantaneous. For others, focused on letting go of layers of constraint, this stage of energetic vulnerability can be prolonged and even agonizing. One can continue to ride the vibrational roller coaster throughout the transformation process as long as they choose. Or one can choose to step off the roller coaster and seize control of a vibrational state of being that one comes to realize is self-determined. It takes some practice before you become acclimated with the new levels and the techniques for harnessing your awareness of the shifting energies as they occur in your daily life. You become accustomed to sensing surges in energy and begin to recognize those moments as opportunities to put forth, in the form of focused thought or verbalized intent, what you wish to have manifest as form. The ease with which results seemingly fall into your lap will amaze you at first. And as you begin to become comfortable with your newfound abilities, it will feel very natural indeed to be choreographing the dance of your existence and watching the performance simultaneously. One develops an instinctive sense of the timing of casting the net of one's consciousness upon the seas of opportunity. And the results that you manifest leave little room for doubt that the nature of your reality and the ground rules for optimum performance here have shifted radically. It is not the same world as it was when you were taught how to survive here not so very long ago. That page has turned now, and a radical deviation from what you may once have believed was your life script is written in bold on a new page of reality that appears before you everywhere you look. You may choose to cling in denial to what you have been told and what you have been taught, or you may dare to recognize what is undeniable to your own senses and what is irrefutable as your own experience. And you may be amongst the first to know the wonders of a world in which you are truly a pioneer. Few guidebooks have yet to be written. This is one of them. For those of you who have ventured forth on uncharted ground will have forged a trail through your own experience of day-to-day living that the others who follow in your footsteps will herald as gospel. The truth you speak as you share your life experiences with others who walk beside you during this extraordinary time of transition will form the foundation of a reality that is both new and timeless. Your world will have shifted radically from the standpoint of where, in the crossroads of time and space, you are acting out this particular drama. Yet the abilities you have begun to manifest, and will increasingly come to do so, are commonplace in the realms and dimensions of reality towards which your world is evolving energetically. The ascension experience of which you are an integral part is one that is in process eternally. It is the motion of unity, questing toward the completion of its own heart's desire, delighting in the reuniting and the bonding with all that it is and all that it continues to become. You are of that essence at every level throughout creation. And in this lifetime you have chosen to give yourself the experiences that carve the truth of the momentum of change indelibly in the stone of your consciousness. You have chosen to be present and to partake of the voyage. You have chosen to venture forth and confront the experience of the great unknown in order that you might relay that knowingness to others who have yet to encounter the shifting tides of your reality. You are amongst the forerunners of a new paradigm who will set the precedents upon which the ground rules of this new world will be based. You have identified yourself to yourself and have dared to stand alone in the light of your inner truth, while others, still cloaked in the self-righteousness of egotistical consensus 3D reality, throw stones at the very fabric of the new reality unfolding. And you have exercised the wisdom to stand firm in your truth and watch quietly as the cards are shuffled and reshuffled, and the lives of others succumb to the shifting tides of change. There is no judgment. There is no question of who is right and who is wrong, for each is convinced of the validity of their beliefs. Their reality creation is 100% real and true for them. And, as such, that is the reality and the parameters within which each individual operates. What will separate those who will thrive in the new energies from those who will perish is the framework for how one chooses to proceed in the face of the evidence presented. Those who cling tenaciously to a world as it once was will face increasing difficulty, despite playing by the rules. Those who recognize that those rules are redefining themselves in the moment are best equipped to ride the currents in the direction in which they are headed. The energy of non-judgmental receptivity best equips you to translate pure awareness into action that is inspired, yet sensitive to the energies that will carry them to fruition. Developing an attunement to the energies as the surges peak and then wane helps you to harness the potential for manifestation and to avoid the low ebb in thought, word, and deed. Simply by being aware of the flow of the energies around you and the ease with which you are able to sense a response to the creative feelers you send forth at the inception of a concept, you learn to merge energetically with the moment and become one with it. The timing of one's response to a given set of circumstances can make a dramatic difference in the effectiveness of one's efforts. The ability to sense when to assert one's energies and when to withhold them is a powerful asset to be cultivated and developed. Likewise, knowing when to relinquish one's grasp on a situation and allow the energies to carry the potential inherent in the circumstances to fruition is a key to harnessing the power with which you have been gifted. It is not enough to recognize the potential in the ebb and flow of the energies as a means for timing one's own actions. One must be sensitive to the balance between action and non-action as a tool for manifesting one's will. Oftentimes, the action of choice is simply to do nothing at the appointed moment and to allow the elaborately interwoven variables surrounding a given issue to settle into place quite naturally. This is the difference between manifesting a result and allowing a result to manifest. Often, the latter approach is the more effective and produces the most desirable outcome. Patience is a powerful skill, and you would be well advised to exercise patience often while strengthening your ability to harmonize with the energies that surround you and those within you. It is not always possible to harness a vibrational high point, and the potential it offers for delivering a desired outcome. For even though your efforts might increase your chances of manifesting that result, the outcome of highest vibration has often been predetermined by factors that are beyond your conscious control. In the realms of possibility, all variables are present and vie vibrationally for the chance to manifest in the reality you experience. All variables are, in fact, materialized as a form or experience in the infinite field of possibilities that surrounds any issue or crossroads or choice point. In the determination of which combination of variables will carry the highest electromagnetic charge and thus become materialized, karmic patterning plays a powerful role. Conditioned responses, pre-programmed by the life choices of all concerned on a given issue, weigh significantly in transforming possibility into probability. Much can be done to counterbalance the influence of such factors, yet they form the foundation of the creation of reality and cannot be discounted in your efforts to manifest a less likely result. Do not feel that you have failed in your quest to amplify your vibration and respond in a conscious way simply because of the result you most desire is not forthcoming instantaneously. It takes much time and practiced, controlled response to elicit a particular result and to offset the likelihood programmed into certain pre-existing variables. As one progresses as a conscious practitioner of manifestation, the full scope of this fascinating art will come under careful scrutiny. And like any art form, the art of manifestation will invite mastery, as it does in other realities and dimensions. One's very life circumstances become testimony to the skills one brings to manifestation, the ultimate arena of creativity. For the medium is unlimited, and the mode of expression embraces the perfection of the balance between heart and mind, between understanding the technical aspects of balancing and counterbalancing the energy and the passion one brings to the opportunity in question. The canvas upon which the masterpiece is created holds inherent in it all the potential pitfalls called forth by related instances in what one would consider to be the past or future. Each, in actuality, is happening in the now moment and carries the appropriate electromagnetic charge that adds its measure to the equation. One is able to influence the balance of this complex combination of factors and draw forth a less than likely result by becoming attuned to the energies of the moment, the environment, and one's own inner being in timing an action or an expression of focused intent. One can become exceptionally skilled at transforming conditioned responses and overcome deep-seated factors that one might consider to be karmic, reversing patterns that have manifested for lifetimes. When such skills are successfully employed, one can diffuse the dominant electromagnetic charge surrounding a given issue and alter the range of probability on the issue in question. To do so consistently will be the hallmark of mastery and the foundation of the field of manifestation. There will be many who approach manifestation as a science, and yet others who regard it as the highest expression of art. In times to come, the melding of the two approaches will yield a generation of highly skilled practitioners who will set the standard for transcending the physical form entirely. At the present crossroads in time and space you consider to be your reality, you are at the outer frontiers of that new world of possibility. It will become common knowledge quite soon that each of you is creating the reality of your life experience. And the mindset you call victim consciousness will, by definition, be relegated to obsolescence. It will no longer be possible to blame another being or circumstances beyond your control. For all experience will be recognized as self-determined on a fascinating complexity of levels. And it will be necessary for every being to take accountability for the part played by each in the co-creation of the reality of mutual experience. When it is no longer possible to deny one's own part in that creation, one is left with little choice but to recognize the role one plays as creator and to cross a major threshold on the journey towards ascension to oneness. This new world, this new vibration, this new dimension, this new density at whose brink you stand in the present moment represents a transitory stage that integrates the world of physical form and the world of instantaneous manifestation. The care one is able to demonstrate in applying one's newfound skills will determine the degree of joy or frustration one is able to experience. And a byproduct of the exercise is the knowledge that there is no one to thank or to blame for any of it except oneself. In the present time frame, which represents a crossroads between two worlds, one is best counseled to be gentle with oneself and all others. It will not enhance your situation in any way to blame yourself or anyone else for what you realize is your own self-created condition. Likewise, it does not serve other people for you to point out self-righteously observations and realizations culled from your own experience. The very fact that another being may be wrestling with circumstances you may have transcended testifies to the fact that they are learning experientially certain issues. Real knowingness comes from life experience, and that alone. One can certainly intellectualize the process and try to force understandings that have been introduced by others or read about in books or heard in videos. Yet, until the lesson is manifested as poignant life experience, the real mastery of the lesson, upon which ascension is based, is not possible. It serves no one to point out, condescendingly or otherwise, understandings that one was fortunate enough to have learned through painful experience. It is counterproductive to pay lip service to platitudes one has encountered mentally and which are far from integrated as experience in one's own life. There is also no need for apology or for condemnation for life circumstances that might be considered to be beneath one's level of understanding on a given issue. The very fact that traumatic episodes have manifested in any person's life is a clear indication that they are working on the mastery of that particular issue. Beings who are inclined to counsel others are cautioned to become aware of the subtleties of the approach employed. By providing theoretical truisms or by meddling in the process of another, one nullifies the growth that might be possible in allowing the individual to experience those circumstances fully and to feel the emotions triggered by a given drama. When encountering another who is enmeshed in a major drama and is teetering on the brink of a breakthrough in realization, it is best to lead that person through carefully posed questions toward discovering the answers within themselves. In this way, the lesson is driven home in a powerful way and is not wasted and likely to be repeated, in order that the understandings be integrated as knowledge and wisdom. Wisdom comes from having lived the lesson, not merely having intellectualized it theoretically. Be aware of your loving intentions, and be sure that you are not undermining the progress of another by preempting his or her process of integration with supposedly well-meaning advice. You are here for you alone. And though you may delude yourself into thinking that you have transcended these times of transformation simply because certain metaphysical understandings have sparked a sense of recognition within you, the truth remains that your own process must be experiential if it is to form a strong foundation for the conditions to come. Honor your own process of transformation for the richness it is programmed to provide you, and respect the magnificence of the process of all the beings around you who journey by your side, by allowing for the full expression of their humanness and your own.